Easy Explain Ethics by Spinoza, third part of the affects. So the full title of this section is right here, of the origin and nature of the affects. And affects for Spinoza are emotions. We're essentially talking about emotions here. And very early on in this part, he's actually going to establish a pretty big doctrine for himself in his philosophy here. It's called the Conatus Doctrine. And in Proposition 6, we see how he defines it here. He says, each thing, as far as it can by its own power, strives to persevere in its being. So essentially what this is going to mean for Spinoza, especially in the context of the emotions, the affects, is that in understanding and learning how to manage our emotions, we can really learn how to seek out better possible lives for ourselves, right? In all possible timelines, if we can manage these emotions well, we can persevere, we can strive, we can become the best possible being that we can. So let's start looking at some of the few key definitions that he has throughout part 3 here. The first one is a juxtaposition between love and hate. So in Proposition 13, the Scholium, Spinoza says that love is nothing but joy with the accompanying idea of an external cause, whereas hate is nothing but sadness with the accompanying idea of an external cause. Right? So love is essentially joy from outside of us. Hate is something, it's bringing us sadness from outside of us. He goes on to say that one who loves necessarily strives to have present and preserve the thing he loves. One who hates strives to remove and destroy the thing he hates. Right? So we're seeing these opposites between love and hate here. And this idea of love is that if we love something, we want to try to preserve that. We want to keep that around. We want to spend more time with the things that we love. So let's move into some other the effects Spinoza outlines here, some of the other emotions. Proposition 18, he hits us with a short list here of hope, fear, confidence, despair, gladness, and remorse. So hope for Spinoza is nothing but an constant joy, which has arisen from the image of a future or past thing whose outcome we doubt. Right, that's where hope comes from. There has to be a little bit of doubt there. It's not certain yet. Whereas fear is an inconstant sadness, which has also arisen from the image of a doubtful thing. So again, hope and fear are going to be opposites, just like love and hate were. Moving on to confidence, that is essentially hope without doubt for Spinoza. And to clarify that, there's a little quote here as well. He's saying, confidence is a joy which has arisen from the image of a thing we feared, right? We're no longer afraid, we're now confident. Whereas despair, as an opposite to confidence, is fear without doubt. The quote here to clarify that is sadness which has arisen from the image of a thing we hoped for. So despair being fearful, it's a sadness. We had hope and now we don't. We're now sad instead of hopeful. Gladness is a joy which has arisen from the image of a past thing whose outcome we doubted. And remorse is a sadness which is opposite to gladness, right? He tends to be putting two different affects or two different emotions against each other. Moving on to Proposition 28, Spinoza says we strive to further the occurrence of whatever we imagine will lead to joy, and to avert or destroy what we imagine is contrary to it, or what will lead to sadness. So this goes back to the Conatus Doctrine. Again, if you can understand and manage your affects, your emotions, you're going to be seeking joy, you're going to be seeking love and confidence and gladness and all those more positive ones. That's the Conatus Doctrine here. Moving on to Proposition 29, or the Scholium there, we're going to get 4 more affects. We see ambition, kindness, praise, and blame. Ambition is striving to do something and also to omit doing something solely to please men. So being ambitious, right? You're trying to stand out from the crowd and further yourself and please everyone around you. Kindness is when we strive so eagerly to please the people that we do or omit certain things to our own injury or another's, right? So this idea of self-sacrifice is kind of coming up in Spinoza's kindness. Praise, the joy with which we imagine the action of another by which he has striven to please us, versus blame, the sadness with which we are adverse to his action, right? We're saying, no, don't do that. We're going to blame you. Moving on to Proposition 33, when we love a thing like ourselves, we strive as far as we can to bring it about that it loves us in return. That's another aspect of the Conatus Doctrine here, especially in lights of love. If we love something, we're going to try to spend more time with it, and we're going to try to get it to love us back, to want to spend more time with us. And finally, Proposition 43 here, hate is increased by being returned, but can be destroyed by love. One final relationship to consider there. And for now, I hope this helps.